the early life and awakening of a hero. Today, we're exploring the story of Rosa Parks, one of America's most courageous and influential women. Rosa Parks was not only a civil rights activist, she became a symbol of dignity, bravery, and the fight for equality for African Americans. Her actions sparked a movement that forever changed the course of U.S. history. Because of her powerful stand against injustice, the United States Congress later honored her with the title the First Lady of Civil Rights, and many also affectionately call her the Mother of the Freedom Movement. Even Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., seen beside her in many historic photos, admired her for her quiet strength and fearless resolve. Let's begin where her story started. Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks was born in 1913 in the southern U.S. state of Alabama. If you look at a map of the United States, Alabama sits deep in the South, an area that, during that time, was still deeply divided by race. Rosa grew up on a small family farm in the countryside, where life was simple but extremely hard. Her parents worked as sharecroppers, meaning they farmed land they did not own, and had to give much of their harvest to the landowners. The family grew cotton, and young Rosa often helped pick it under the blazing Alabama sun, sometimes barefoot, with her back aching from long days in the fields. Poverty was part of everyday life, but so was perseverance. At age 11, Rosa moved with her family to a small community called Pine Level, just outside Montgomery, Alabama's capital city. The shift from rural farmland to a town near a major city introduced her to both opportunity and harsh injustice. During this period, segregation laws ruled the South. Segregation meant strict racial separation. Black and white citizens could not attend the same schools, eat in the same restaurants, or even drink from the same water fountains. African Americans were denied access to equal education, medical care, and housing. They were expected to use separate restrooms, libraries, and theaters, all because of the color of their skin. Even public transportation was segregated. On city buses, black passengers had to sit at the back and were often forced to give up their seats to white riders, even if they had paid the same fare. Rosa witnessed and experienced this unfairness every day. She was insulted, ignored, and bullied simply for being African American. But inside her grew a quiet determination that things had to change. By 1943, Rosa Parks decided to take action. She joined the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, an organization devoted to protecting the rights of African Americans and fighting against racial discrimination. She worked tirelessly behind the scenes for over a dozen years, helping investigate injustices and advocating for equal treatment. But it was one December day in 1955 that would transform her from a community worker into a global icon. The stand that moved a nation. On December 1, 1955, Rosa Parks boarded a public bus in Montgomery after a long day of work. She quietly sat in a seat reserved for black passengers. As the bus filled up, a white man boarded, and the driver demanded that Rosa give up her seat. But Rosa calmly refused. She knew this demand was unfair, and she had endured enough humiliation for one lifetime. When the driver threatened to call the police, Rosa held her ground. Her voice was steady, her spirit unshaken. She simply said, "No." That one word carried the power of centuries of suffering and the hope of justice. She was arrested that evening for refusing to give up her seat. Imagine the courage it took for her to make that decision. Alone, surrounded by anger and threats, yet she stood firm, believing that doing what was right mattered more than fear. After her arrest, her fingerprinting photo became a powerful symbol of defiance. Thankfully, her friends and community quickly raised the money to release her from jail. But her bravery ignited something much larger, a movement ready to challenge injustice head-on. Civil rights leaders in Montgomery, including Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., recognized the importance of her act. Together, they organized the Montgomery Bus Boycott, urging African Americans to stop riding city buses entirely until segregation on public transportation was abolished. A boycott means refusing to use a service or buy a product to protest unfair treatment. By refusing to ride the buses, the Black community sent a strong message. If equality was denied, they would withdraw their economic support. Since most bus riders were Black, the transit system soon lost huge amounts of money. The boycott grew larger each week. People walked miles to work, organized carpools, and supported each other in unity. Despite harassment and threats, they persisted, day after day, month after month. The Montgomery bus boycott lasted 381 days, just over a year, and ended in victory. In 1956, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that segregation on public transportation was unconstitutional. It was one of the first major legal wins of the civil rights era and showed the world that peaceful protest could bring real change. After this historic triumph, Rosa Parks moved to Detroit, Michigan, where her brother lived. There, she continued her activism, writing books, giving speeches, and encouraging young people to fight injustice peacefully. Her dedication never faded. In 1996, President Bill Clinton presented Rosa Parks with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor in the United States, recognizing her lifelong devotion to equality and human rights. 9 years later, in 2005, Rosa Parks passed away at the age of 92. The entire nation mourned her loss. She was laid to rest with the recognition and honor she had long deserved. A hero whose quiet strength had sparked one of the most powerful movements in history. Her legacy continues to inspire millions around the world. Rosa Parks proved that one person's courage can change the course of history. She was truly the First Lady of Civil Rights, the mother of the freedom movement. So, as we remember her today, let's honor her message. Stand firm for what is right, even when you stand alone.
Jadi dia kerja malam ni. Oh, malam lagi.